Hi guys, this is Frank Khalid, and this is a video for my YouTube channel. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Today I am doing an interview with Fabrizio Romano, and I'll be asking him several questions about Chelsea, about other clubs as well, and about transfer rumors. I hope you enjoy this video. How do you find out about the latest transfer rumors?
That's a good question. Just because obviously I started like 10 years ago to do this job. I love my job, first of all, so it's a matter of passion just because you have to be always connected and everything. But my work is really trying to get in touch with as so much people as I can, like contacting people every day and around the world, like agents, directors, sometimes also players. So it depends by the situation, but it's like spending all my day during the window and also when the window is closed to make new contacts, to have new sources, to get in touch with people and receiving info and always checking. For me, it's always important to check news, to be 100% sure about what I'm going to say in my tweets, in my posts, my articles and everything. So it's a good question because it's a long process, but it's like trying to get in touch with a lot of people every day. That's it.
How has the COVID-19 changed the transfer market?
It's been a big change, really. In my opinion, it's really totally different just because, first of all, of the timing of the transfers is so slow sometimes. So also looking at top clubs like Barcelona spending 6 months to sign a player like Depay and they have not signed him yet is something really special. And we never seen something like this in football for many years. So apart from Chelsea, have been the only club last summer to sign a lot of players to look really with many deals. All the top clubs around Europe, and I talk about Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid and Italian clubs also. A lot of clubs are not spending money, are saving money just because with the impact of the pandemic, we are having a complicated situation for the top clubs. What's the situation? They're paying salaries, the same salaries to top players, but they're losing a lot of money, obviously from the stadium and from the merchandising and from the sponsor. So the clubs are really in a difficult economical situation, in particular top clubs are in a difficult situation and they can't plan also for the future. For example, for the next season, they have the problem because they don't know if we will have fans in the stadium or not, when the situation will be back to normality in our life and also in football. So it's really complicated, and also for transfers, because with no money and no top clubs investing, it's really difficult also for middle table or small clubs to make money and to sell players. So it's becoming really complicated. This window has been really difficult also as a journalist, but also for sporting directors to find something interesting, because really no money and no fun for us. So that's it. Let's hope for next summer the situation will get better and we will be back at top level also with the transfer market.
Let's hope it does get better. Talking of Chelsea, how true is the rumours that Chelsea want to bring in Erling Haaland and Gianluigi Donnarumma?
About Holland, we can mention that Chelsea are between many clubs interested in this guy. I can mention like, I think 5 or 6 or 7 clubs, also Manchester City and Manchester United, and for sure Paris Saint-Germain and Barcelona and Real Madrid and Juventus. They are all interested in Erling Haaland. And what I want to mention is that he has an agent who is a special agent, because when you are with Mino Raiola, you know, he's preparing his big transfers. He's not casual. He's always planning for something big. And at the moment, he's not planning with Holland moving next summer. So if some clubs will arrive with more than 100 million euro, I think we will see what's going on. But at the moment, Chelsea and other clubs have not moved anything advanced yet for Erling Haaland, because the player is happy at Borussia Dortmund. He's only 1 year playing for Borussia Dortmund and he's happy. He feels that he's a starter. He's playing Champions League football. He's always scoring. So he's so happy with the atmosphere around the club. And Borussia Dortmund are planning to sell Jadon Sancho next summer more than Erling Haaland, just because Erling Haaland will have a release clause in 2022, so in 1 year and a half, not next summer, but the other one for 75 million euro. So in this moment, they will sell Erling Haaland. Next summer will be not so easy. So let's see if Chelsea or other clubs will move something advanced to sign Erling Haaland. But at the moment, the player is happy and he's not saying to Mino Raiola, I want to leave the club. So at the moment, the situation is a bit quiet around Haaland. I know that there are a lot of rumors because the player is, in my opinion, the best young talent in the world, but there is nothing advanced yet. So we have to see around March, April, when top clubs plan for their future. About Donnarumma, For sure, there is an interest because we are talking about an amazing goalkeeper. He's young and he's really so good. But I'm told that there are huge chances to see Donnarumma extending his contract with AC Milan. So there is a negotiation between Raiola and Donnarumma and the AC Milan board to extend his contract. Chelsea are happy with Mendy. So at the moment, there is nothing also in this side advanced, and I think that Donnarumma will extend his contract with AC Milan. He's asking for around 7.58 million euro per season after taxes. AC Milan are offering around 6, so they are big close, and I think in the coming weeks AC Milan will go to extend the contract of Donnarumma.
Sure. How true? Sorry, not true. Sorry. What players do you think Thomas Tuchel will want to bring to Chelsea?
That's a good question, just because obviously they are planning more for next summer than for January, just because, as you know better than me, for Chelsea has been like a small problem to have a lot of top players, new players this summer, just because in this period with playing football every 3 days, no time for training, no time for preseason, no time for friendly, no time to build a real team. You can have amazing players, but to build a real team, you need time. And this problem was because obviously you signed a lot of new players in the same moment. So signing new players in January in these last days would be like not so smart from Chelsea. They're planning for next summer to go for important players. I think they will go for a center back. That's the plan of the club. So the mentality is going for a top center back for next summer. Let's see for the situation also for the midfield, because they wanted Declan Rice with Frank Lampard, and now without Lampard and with another manager, the situation could change for Declan Rice. So I think he will go for players also from the Bundesliga again, as they did for Werner and Havertz, just because he knows so well the Bundesliga. When I say he, obviously I'm meaning Thomas Tuchel. But let's see what will plan the club around March, April, to understand the names. At the moment, I see also a lot of rumors about Alaba. For sure, Tuchel loves Alaba, but the player wants to join Real Madrid. So it won't be so easy to go for this kind of players. But for sure, next summer, Chelsea will go again on the market and again with important players.
Sure. There's been rumours of players fighting and not being happy in Frank Lampard's reign. Is there any truth in this? Have you heard anything?
To be honest with you, and I heard a lot of stories, but to be respectful with the dressing room, I don't love to share this kind of stories if I'm not 100% sure about what I'm saying, just because sometimes we have the risk of not saying anything like 100% sure, and it's not respectful to the club, to the manager, and to the players. So I try to share this kind of things only when I'm 100% sure about what's happening, and at the moment I'm not about this story. But what I've been told is that some players in Chelsea dressing room, like Thiago Silva and many others, and we're talking about natural leaders in Chelsea dressing room, they were talking also with Frank, telling him like, don't worry, because obviously it has been an unlucky chapter with Chelsea, but for sure your future is as a manager. So continue on this way. They were with the manager. Obviously, in every dressing room, we have fights sometimes between players. We have problems. It's not just about Chelsea. I see a lot of these stories, and many times are good clubs to not sharing anything with the press, and other clubs who have this kind of problem with the press. But at the moment, I think for Chelsea, it's good to think to Thomas Tuchel and respecting Frank Lampard also without sharing this kind of stories, just because we have to be respectful with the legend as Frank Lampard is.
Sure. Where do you think Lionel Messi will end up in the summer?
That's the best question, I think, because at the moment he doesn't know too. He doesn't know too. Just to make you understand the situation, Leo Messi is waiting for the election. So he told to his father Jorge, to people around him, his lawyers, I want to wait for the elections of Barcelona because it would be a huge step. Obviously, he had a lot of problems with the old president Bartomeu. So at the moment, he wants to understand who is going to take over at Barcelona, to understand who is going to change the situation also about the manager, if Koeman will stay or if they will change the manager, if they will change the situation of the board, and 100% yes, who will be the new president, what will be the plan of the club, because Leo Messi wants to win. He wants to be back at the level of when he was playing with players like Neymar or this kind of players. So if Barcelona will go for this kind of project, he could stay at Barcelona and he will think about staying at Barcelona. If not, he will leave the club next summer as a free agent. But I think only two clubs can sign Leo Messi, Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain. They are really planning to try for Leo Messi if he will decide to leave Barcelona. But at the moment, he doesn't know yet because his priority is to talk with Barcelona and then he will decide about his future.
Other than Messi, which big name players do you think will change clubs in the summer? like Neymar and Mbappe, obviously.
We will have really, in my opinion, we will have an amazing summer, I'm sure, just because you mentioned Neymar and Mbappe. I think Neymar could stay at Paris Saint-Germain, but let's see with the situation of Mbappe because he's negotiating a new contract. So for sure, Mbappe will be one of the possible names if he won't find agreement with Paris Saint-Germain, but they are negotiating. So it's an open situation. We have to keep an eye also the situation of Real Madrid players like Sergio Ramos, because if Sergio Ramos won't extend his contract with Real Madrid, he will be an amazing player on the market. And look at Paris Saint-Germain; they are really interested more than English clubs at the moment. That Paris Saint-Germain are pushing for Sergio Ramos. We have to see. Obviously, we mentioned the situation of Leo Messi, but for talking about strikers, Sergio Aguero, Argentinian strikers, also he is out of contract at Manchester City, and also in this case, he's not decided yet about his future at the club. But if he would be a free agent, pay attention to him. I want to mention another Argentinian player, Lautaro Martinez, just because we have reports here in Italy about an agreement found on his contract to extend his contract with Inter. Is not true. At the moment, they have no agreement to extend his contract. They are negotiating, but there is no agreement. So also Lautaro Martinez could be one of the possible names on the market next summer if Inter won't extend this contract. So it will be a big market, in my opinion, for strikers also. We have to mention also Erling Haaland, and we say, let's see if someone will arrive with more than 100 million euro. At the moment, there is nothing advanced, but will be really, in my opinion, an amazing summer, also because talking with people around clubs, agents, and more, they're saying all the same thing, that after this difficult period, this difficult year, and this terrible market, because it's been really poor at the moment, this transfer market, let's hope that next summer, if we are back to normality, also in football, to have an amazing summer, also to rebuild clubs and to go with new players, new talents. So in my opinion, it will be the market of the strikers and also of centre-backs. And I want to mention Upamecano because it's an amazing race with Chelsea, Liverpool, and Manchester United, and Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich leading the race. So it's an open race, but Upamecano will be an interesting one because he has a release clause for 42 million euro, and it will be a bargain for every club who's going to sign Upamecano.
Will Paul Pogba stay at Man United, or do you expect him to leave?
I think it's not easy for him to stay, just because, okay, it's crazy the situation, just because immediately after Mino Raiola spoke about his future, about Paul ready to leave the club, he started to perform as a top player for Manchester United. So it's been really particular, this situation. But Paul has been a serious professional, always, also with Solskjaer. So we told him immediately after Raiola spoke, I will be the best professional, don't worry, till the last day I'm here. Then next summer, Mino Raiola is planning to move Paul Pogba to another club. So let's see what kind of club could be, because it's really difficult in England. So let's see if Paul Pogba will have his dream come true with Real Madrid, because his dream is to play for Real Madrid. He also has an amazing relationship with Juventus. Also, Paris Saint-Germain manager Pochettino is a big fan of Paul Pogba. So these three clubs are interested, but let's see what's going on next summer with Mino Raiola. And about the price, I'm really curious about the price, because at the moment, Manchester United are saying that they have no intention of making any price for January, obviously, for Pogba, but next summer they have to make a price because he has only 1 year of contract, and having the risk of losing Paul Pogba again as a free agent after what they did when he was 17, 18 would be terrible. So they need to fix a price for next summer. And at the moment, they always ask it for 100 million euro for Paul Pogba. But I think it would be really difficult to see Real Madrid or Juventus paying this fee for Paul Pogba. So let's see next summer if Manchester United will change their mind. Because when Juventus offered a swap deal, including players like Ramsey, like Rabiot, like Douglas Costa, and also Miralem Pjanic when he was playing with Juventus, Manchester United always said, no swap deals. We want only money or nothing for Pogba. And let's see if next summer will be the same.
No problem. I'll ask a couple more questions. Thoughts on the Fikayo Tomori loan to AC Milan? Do you think he'll do well there?
Yesterday night he was great, really. In his first match with AC Milan in the derby against Inter, he was like starting for the first time as AC Milan player, and he was good. Also playing against Lukaku and Lautaro and Alexis Sanchez wasn't so easy. They were also with 10 players just because of the problem with Ibrahimovic and Lukaku, but he's been really good. So I think, yes, I think it's so good for Italian league because he's a physical center-back, but he has good mentality, always fighting. He's also fast. So he's a good player. And AC Milan director Massara is in love with this player. He was working with Roma 2 years ago, and he wanted to sign Tomori for Roma 2 years ago. So he had the opportunity now for Chelsea, and he was so happy with Tomori. So for sure they will go to make him play. He will have some space. But for AC Milan, around 28, 30 million euro is a big fee next summer to spend on Fikayo Tomori. So let's see if they will decide to sign him or not. It's up to Tomori, but the start was so good. He will play a lot also because the other centre-back of AC Milan, Kier, had an injury yesterday. So it started well for Tomori, and I think it could be part of the future plans for AC Milan.
As you know, tonight is Thomas Tuchel's first game in charge. How do you think he'll do at Chelsea?
In my opinion, he's a good manager, and he's something good at this relationship with the players. He's so good at the relationship, direct relationship with the player. I'm told that at Paris Saint-Germain, he had a good relationship directly also with the stars of the dressing room. You know, going with Mbappe and Neymar is not so easy. So he was so good in this kind of situation, and I'm sure that in the dressing room, he will be good too at Chelsea. The real problem with him was not on the pitch, because in my opinion, on the pitch, he's an amazing manager, but outside the pitch, he wants to be like present when you're going to do something like on the market, planning for the future and everything. He wants to be part of the project of the club, also in rebuilding the club next summer. So I think that Chelsea decided to go with Thomas Tuchel is because they know that he wants to be part of this process also for next summer, because his main problem at Paris Saint-Germain was with Leonardo. Leonardo wanted to sign some players and he wanted some different ones. And when you have this kind of situation, it's really difficult to go on with a good relationship between director and manager. So it's up to Chelsea to go with right ideas with Thomas Tuchel. I have no doubt that it will be good on the pitch, but it's time to show that also outside the pitch, planning with a club for Thomas Tuchel is something possible at top level, because you're going to a top club like Chelsea and they need to build together and not signing players without the okay from the manager.
Liverpool. Liverpool had so many injury problems this season. Do you think they'll bring someone in this transfer window, or do you think they'll wait till the summer?
I think at the moment, no, just because also Joel Matip is back. So they're planning for next summer. They have a clear strategy. They always say that they want to bring on the players they are 100% convinced, and not loan deals or this kind of things. They had some opportunities like Sokratis Papastatopoulos offered on loan from Arsenal at the start of the window. Then he joined Olympiacos. But they had this kind of possibility and they always say no. So I don't expect Liverpool to sign a centre-back at the last day, on the deadline day. At the moment, obviously, you never see in football something crazy could happen, but at the moment there is nothing advanced, and they are planning for next summer for a new centre back and for something new in the midfield if Ronaldo will leave the club. It's not decided yet, but it's another interesting situation.
Sure. You mentioned early on about Sergio Aguero. If he is to leave this summer, Man City, who will they replace him with? Who do you think Man City will go for?
That's a good question, just because at the moment they have not decided yet. Now, as I mentioned, top clubs like also Manchester City, they decide around March, April for the right names. For sure, I heard rumors about Haaland, and they like the player. I heard rumors about Lukaku, but Lukaku is not on the market because for Inter is so important, so it would be really difficult. Let's see the situation of Lautaro, as I mentioned, could be an interesting situation, the one of Lautaro Martinez, because he's a good striker, young one, scoring goals also in the Champions League. It could be a good one, but at the moment there is nothing advanced, also because they will decide with Guardiola. So after they will take a decision with Aguero, also to respect the club legend, they immediately after they will go for a striker if Aguero will decide to leave, because at the moment it's nothing sure yet.
That is it. Thank you so much, Fabrizio, for the interview. Thank you for your time.
Thank
you. I really
you.
appreciate that. The 20 minutes went really quick.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Really, thank you. Thank you for inviting me, and really big pleasure. And I hope we can do it together soon.
This is one of my very first interviews on my YouTube channel, and thank you so much for coming on. I'm a big fan of yours, really. And keep up the great work.
Thank you. Thank you so much, really.